Do you know the difference between look, see, watch, stare, gaze, glance, and glimpse? They all involve using your eyes, but each one is used in different situations and has a slightly different meaning. Some sound more emotional, some are more casual, and some are even used with specific prepositions like at, into, or of. In today's lesson, we're going to break down all 7 of these verbs, what they really mean, how they're used in everyday English, and which prepositions go with them. Let's begin with the first one, look. We use look when we intentionally direct our eyes towards something. It's a conscious action, and it's almost always followed by the preposition at. Let's look at 3 examples. Look at this picture. Isn't it beautiful? In this sentence, the speaker is asking someone to pay attention to the picture. They're asking the listener to turn their eyes toward it on purpose, which is exactly how we use look at. She looked at me and smiled. This means that she made the choice to focus her eyes on the person speaking. And then she smiled. It's an intentional and personal moment. Look at the sky. It's full of stars. Here, someone is pointing out something beautiful or surprising, asking you to direct your attention upward. So again, look means to choose where you're placing your attention. And we almost always say, look at something. Next, let's talk about see. We use see when we notice something with our eyes, but without trying. It's passive. You don't choose to see, it just happens. Also, see usually doesn't need a preposition. Here are a few examples. Did you see that shooting star? This means the star appeared, and you noticed it. Even though you weren't looking for it, it just came into your vision. I saw your text this morning. In this sentence, saw means the message appeared on your phone, and you noticed it. No special effort. She sees the dentist every month. Here, see means to visit someone regularly, often for an appointment. We use see in this way with doctors, dentists, or other professionals. So remember, see is about things that your eyes notice naturally, without intention, and it rarely uses a preposition. Now let's look at watch. Watch means to look at something carefully, often for a longer time, especially if it's moving. It's active and focused. Usually, watch stands alone, but we sometimes use it with the preposition for if we're waiting for something to appear, or with over if we're protecting someone or something. Here are some examples. Let's watch a movie tonight. In this case, you're focusing on the film, paying attention to everything that happens. This is a clear example of watching something that moves. He watched the kids play outside. Here, he's observing their actions, probably to make sure they're safe or simply enjoying what they're doing. She watched the birds flying across the sky. This sentence describes someone calmly observing movement in the sky, which fits the typical use of watch, focusing on something in motion. So, watch is all about focused attention, and sometimes includes a sense of time or protection. Next is stare. Stare means to look at something or someone for a long time, and often with intensity. It can feel uncomfortable or even rude. We almost always say stare at someone or something. Let's take a look at a few examples. Why are you staring at me like that? This question suggests that someone is looking too intensely or for too long, and it's making the speaker feel uneasy. She stared at the wall, deep in thought. This means she was looking at the wall for a long time, not really seeing it, just lost in her thoughts. They stared at the screen in shock. In this case, their eyes were frozen in place, possibly after seeing something surprising or unbelievable. So, stare it describes a long, focused look that often feels too intense. Gaze is a softer and more emotional word. It also means to look for a long time, but in a calm, peaceful, or romantic way. We often say gaze at something beautiful or gaze into someone's eyes. Let's go through the examples. He gazed at the stars in silence. This sentence creates a peaceful image. Someone quietly admiring the night sky. They gazed into each other's eyes. This is often used in romantic contexts. It describes a deep emotional connection. She gazed at the painting, completely mesmerized. This shows someone being so captivated by a piece of art that they can't look away. So, gaze is long and emotional, and is usually followed by at or into. Glance means to take a very quick look. It's fast, intentional, and usually used just to check something. You'll often hear glance at when talking about looking at something briefly, or glance around when scanning your surroundings quickly. Here are some examples. He glanced at his phone during the meeting. This means he checked it quickly, maybe to see the time or a notification. She glanced around the room before leaving. Here, she's quickly checking the space, maybe to see if she forgot anything. I glanced at the clock. Almost midnight. This is about checking the time for just a second and realizing how late it is. So glance is all about speed and purpose. You look, but only for a moment. And finally, we have glimpse. A glimpse means to see something for just a moment, often by accident. It's sudden, brief, and usually followed by the preposition of. You can use glimpse as a verb. For example, I glimpsed something. But in everyday English, it's much more common as a noun, like in the phrase catch a glimpse of. That's why most examples you hear will use the noun form. Let's look at 3 examples. I caught a glimpse of a deer in the woods. This means the deer appeared quickly, and then it was gone, just long enough to notice it. She had a glimpse of herself in the mirror. In this sentence, she saw her reflection as she passed by, not on purpose, but just briefly. We got a glimpse of the celebrity before the door closed. This suggests that the moment was fast and unexpected, a lucky chance to see someone famous. So remember, when you catch a glimpse of something, you see it for a brief, accidental moment. And using it as a noun is much more common in daily English than the verb form. Now it's your turn. Let's test your understanding with a few quick questions. Fill in the blank with the correct verb. Question 1. Point E wasn't paying attention. He adjusted the rainbow as he turned the corner. Let's think about it. He didn't mean to see the rainbow, it just appeared. The correct answer is saw. This was passive and unplanned. Question 2. The baby kept at the ceiling fan. It made her curious. This was a long, focused look, and maybe a little intense. The answer is staring. She couldn't take her eyes off it. Question 3. We a great show last night. The acting was amazing. Shows involve movement, and we usually give them our full attention. So the answer is watched. This is all about focused, active looking. Question 4. She at the time and quickly packed her bag. This sounds like she checked the time quickly and moved on. The best verb here is glanced. It was short and purposeful. Question 5. I at the fireworks for a long time. They were beautiful. This was a calm and emotional moment. The correct answer is gazed. She looked with wonder. Question 6. He told me to at the strange light in the sky. This is a direct instruction to focus your eyes on something. The right answer is look. It's intentional. Question 7. This is a brief, magical moment, almost accidental. The answer is glimpse. And remember, we often say, catch a glimpse of something. Great work. Now that you've practiced with real examples, let's take one last look at what we've learned today. Look is intentional. and usually followed by at. See is passive. You notice something naturally, with no preposition. Watch involves focus and movement. Sometimes we use watch for or watch over. Stare means to look intensely, and it's usually stare at. Gaze is long, soft, and emotional. We say gaze at or gaze into. Glance is quick and intentional. Glance at or glance around. Glimpse is very brief and accidental. We usually say a glimpse of something, and it's more common as a noun than a verb. Well done! Now you know how to use 7 different ways to say look, each with its own meaning, tone, and grammar. Try using them in real conversations. You'll sound more natural, more precise, and more confident in English. If this video helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.